Hello, people. Welcome back to Narrative. So, in today's episode, we will be piggybacking off of episode one where we mentioned doubt. So, we're going to zero in a little bit on doubt, right? So, let's get into it, y'all. So, while we understand what doubt is, right? It's basically not believing. You're in disbelief. But doubt can come with various things. Doubt can come with imposter syndrome. It can come with you know, inflicting it on yourself. So self doubt. So it can, you know, cause you not to trust yourself or trust people. It can cause you to not have confidence in yourself or people. So there are various ways that it can stem and it can flow. And if you continue to live in a space where you have a doubtful mind, you will be a doubtful person. You will even act doubtful. So, for example, if you're unsure about something and you want to, it's something that you physically have to do, and you're unsure of how to do it. Like, say, for instance, cutting a cabbage. Cutting cabbage hard, you know. And if you're not sure how to cut it in a way where it has like the right amount of chunks and you cut it in a certain direction where it's like, good enough for your coleslaw or however you want to do it, you are going to be in a position where it's like, oh my God, this has not come out exactly the way that I wanted it to because you were doubting that you were doing it right. So, as we get into the deeper depths of everything, the first thing I want to tackle with you guys is imposter syndrome. I know that's very familiar for a lot of people. Imposter syndrome is feeling unqualified even when you are. Now, you may question, how on earth do I get to a place where I feel unqualified and I know I'm qualified? That's like having a degree and experience in a certain field or a certain career, and you still don't feel like you're capable. So you go and do more things and more courses and more internships and more because you feel like, yeah, I have that. Yeah, I have this, but I don't think it quite fits the bill. When exactly did that start for you? It has to start from somewhere. So maybe it can be someone doubting your abilities. Maybe it can be, you know, within maybe a 1 or 2 years of experience, or maybe 3 months of experience, that you gathered a lot of information, you gathered enough experience to execute in a certain role based on the criteria. But it's a challenge when the people that are assessing you for this position can't see it the way that you do. And it's a lot of times we end up in a position where, I know I lose position a lot, my God, but we end up in a position where, okay, if this person who is qualified enough to assess me to tell me that I am not qualified for this specific job, even though I have the degree, even though I have 3 months experience, and I know that I fit all of the things required, why is it, you know, why is it that I don't fit? And then you start to feel like, okay, in everything that you do, you're like, oh, do I have enough? Am I enough? When will I be enough? If you continuously live in this space as you grow and as you continue to build yourself by doing various things because of your uncertainty about your ability to do it, you're going to be in a position where it's a never ending cycle. So, how exactly do you challenge imposter syndrome when this arises, when it happens? And it doesn't have to be career wise, it could even be something simple as, um, performance. If you are a musician, singer, what have you, and you're like, ugh, that sounds so ew. They ain't gonna like that. They ain't gonna like how I sound. That sound flat. Ugh. You know, I crack myself up. It's just a thing where you like every little thing that you do, you're like, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. If you saying I don't know, right? Think about why you don't know. Is it yourself? Things that you are inflicting? Is it somebody's disagreements with what you do? Is it maybe, you know, something that was not the feedback you expected to have? Those are the kind of things you have to think about when you say you don't know if you can. You think about what could have caused the I don't know. So, this is something I want to challenge you all to do. When you have a moment where you have imposter syndrome and you have a I don't know, sit yourself down. If you want to write it down, just write down why you feel like you don't know. Write down all of those things. And when you write it down, I want you to then think about your characteristics, your values, your attributes, your skills. Think about all of these things. And if for some reason you can say, I have this skill, and it counters out why you don't know, or I have these values, counters out why you don't know, that shows you that you are in a position where you are allowing outside thoughts or maybe, well, outside influences to give you inside influences, right? Everything comes from a certain place, but you have to allow yourself to be in a position where, what do I think about myself, right? How do I feel about myself? If I am confident in who I am, if I believe that I took the necessary steps to do these things, right? How is it that I still don't know? What is it that's causing me to still not know? So remember, if you took the necessary steps to feel qualified, if you took the necessary steps to be qualified, no matter what happens, you shouldn't be in a place where you don't know, because you filled yourself with knowledge. You filled yourself with understanding. You sought the necessary information needed to be qualified. So why is there a question that if I am qualified? Regardless of what someone else may say, you will have no's. You will have people that feel like, oh, you don't fit the bill. You will have people that feel like, oh, you just don't fit. Well, so be it. Let them think what they gotta think. If you're not qualified in their eyes, that does not mean you're not qualified to be somewhere else. So do not let what people say, do not let what people think cause you to feel like you're not qualified. And if you are in a position where you know that you feel unqualified or you feel under, you go to the places that you know you're qualified for. And you do the necessary work. Everything that is negative, you counter it with something positive. If you feel like you may need a little bit more in this case, do so. But never put yourself in a position where you're constantly, I don't feel qualified, even when you know that you are. Counter it with the positive. Right? Right. Okay. So the next thing. Sometimes when you're doubting your path, you have to pivot. You have to push through. And this comes back all back to it again. You cannot live in a position, you cannot live in a place where you doubt yourself or where you question your ability. Because when you question your ability, you stay stuck. You stay in a stagnant place. You cannot live in a stagnant place. You can't put yourself in a stagnant place. When you push through and you pivot, that means taking an alternative route. You don't live in the place of I don't know how. Question it. Why don't I know how to? What am I doing? Am I procrastinating? Am I just being lackadaisical? Am I not doing something in a way that is progressive? Why is it I'm not able to pivot? Am I choosing not to pivot? Or is there challenges in my way? And if there are challenges in my way, how do I fight these challenges? How do I rid them? What am I doing to change? Right? So the next thing is when it comes to self doubt and personal growth, that can cripple you. Now, I know we say in doubt and then we have self doubt. Doubts are general. It's, I doubt that this person can walk on the moon. I doubt that this person can sweep the floor properly. That's a doubt. But self doubt is self infliction, it's self pain, it's denying yourself of believing you have self worth, it's denying yourself of believing you have value. And when you constantly put yourself in self doubt, self inflicted pain, that's exactly what that is. Self inflicted pain, you are now in a position where you're crippled. And now you're not progressive. So that will definitely cripple your personal growth because if you don't believe that you can and if you doubt that you can, there's a whole lot of things that's going to be on pause. Your purpose is not going to come to fruition if you live in this place of self doubt. So, question, why am I doubting that I can? And why am I not doing the necessary things to make sure that I can? Yeah? Yeah. All right. Now, next thing about having self doubt is the fear of failure and rejection. I know this all too well. There, there are a lot of things that I have not done that I should have done because I was too afraid to be rejected. Let's take it back to high school. I wasn't supposed to be dating anybody, but I still had boys that I liked. Okay, my parents hear this, Jesus. But but there were a lot of guys that I liked that liked me back that didn't shoot their shot because my daddy was the VP, and of course that's the only place I used to see boys because I never used to go out like that and all that stuff. So sometimes I would shoot my shot, right? And I remember shooting my shot one time, and this at this time this boy was one of the popular guys playing basketball and track and all that and all of that. And he was tall and he was light skinned and all that, fancy stuff. And this dude string me along, what have you, then pop up with a girlfriend. And I say he didn't even have the balls to tell me he can reject me. He just do it just like that. I say, okay. You best believe I never shoot my shot after that. That was like years ago. Because I'm like, why would I put myself through that again? And I was terrified of being rejected. There are times where I was terrified to apply for certain jobs, knowing I had the skills and qualified for it. Because I was like, I got rejected a lot these past few months. What was the point of me doing it? Why must I shoot my shot? I'm gonna get rejected again. So why should I do that? And you best believe I crippled my future. It was when I had the balls to be like, okay, you could only just say no if you don't want me there. You could say yes or you could say no. When I started to think like that, I ended up getting so many things that I was supposed to get, right? I'm not saying that it never happened where somebody tell me no, but I shoot my shot and it went in the right basket. Exactly. So, to overcome this fear of failure and rejection, you just gotta shoot your shot. Regardless of whatever happens, you have to believe that somebody somewhere gonna see what I see. And somebody somewhere gonna see who God created me to be. And if they don't see that, that's their business. That don't mean I change. That don't mean that I don't have value. That does not mean that I'm not qualified. Sometimes they could make a mistake, But if they just don't choose to, that's their choice. You can't get mad at it. But you have to remember, you know who you are, right? And if you don't know who you are, find that. But you know who you are, you know your purpose is. You have to allow yourself to be seen. And how do you allow yourself to be seen? Shoot the shot. Is all I'm saying. Shoot the shot. Okay? All right. How to build self trust and self confidence. And now this is a tricky one. Because for me, I do not remember exactly how I managed to build self trust and self confidence. I don't remember exactly what I did. All I do remember is I know I had to do it. I had no choice. I had to bet on myself. At the end of the day, ain't nobody else like Shamini. Ain't nobody else. Well, I can't say nobody else named Shamini, but because I don't know. But ain't nobody else like me. The world needs a Shamini. I can't help that. I have to make sure that as long as I'm breathing, as long as I have a life, I have to make sure that I make my mark because I'm here for what? A purpose. It all comes down to purpose. I have to remind myself that my purpose stands strong and stands true. And I have to be like, okay, if I don't trust myself, ain't nobody else gonna trust me. If I could, like, somebody come to me, let's say, right? I ended up, dating in a potential relationship. Why all of these examples coming around this? Anyway, um, I end up in a potential, you know, close to a potential relationship, getting to know somebody and all that stuff. And say potential person asks me a question, and I like, well, I, I really don't know, like, and it's like giving that person a thing where it's like, does she know herself? Does she trust herself? Does she, that kind of thing? You have to have that confidence in you. And even if it's a situation where you ain't too sure, and like to say in that scenario, bluff. I ain't the best advice, but don't make people know you don't trust yourself. Anyway, Lord, I can get in trouble. Anyway, in order to build your self trust and self confidence, is to know that you have to do it. It's a must. Ain't nobody else gonna do it for you but you. At the end of the day, you gotta get up and wash your own bungie. You gotta get up and cook your own food. You gotta get up and put the spoon or fork to your mouth. Nobody else gonna do it for you. So you have to do it. And once you build that trust within yourself, like, yeah, I know I have to do something, and I know I'm capable of doing it because I get up and I do it every day. So now you're confident that, yeah, I can do this because I've done it before. That's how you build confidence, when you do it. So do it. Okay? All right. The last and very important thing is having a solid support system. Now, see, I understand the whole me, myself, and I movement. Okay? I get it. And I understand that it ain't everybody is your friend, ain't everybody for you. Ain't everybody with you. Ain't everybody down. I get that. But it's on you to decide who is for you. And this is, I have to emphasize this as well. Use your discernment where that is concerned. Because you can have people that will show you one side, like wolf in sheep's clothing. And this is something that you have to be spiritually aware when it comes to people and their characters, especially when you are building yourself to be in a certain positive mindset, confidence, and all of those good things. You have to allow yourself to connect with the Holy Spirit. Yes, I said it. Connect with the Holy Spirit and seek wisdom on who is for you and who isn't. Or it could be a case where their values don't align with yours. And sometimes you don't even need to do that. Sometimes you can see it plain as day that their values don't align with yours. And you still just do things because, yeah, they cool. I could go out and I could have, a good laugh and kiki. And it's all good and it's all well. But what happens when your back is against the wall and you need the support? What happens when you cannot, or you're not, you so down that you're not able to pep pep talk yourself, and you need somebody to lean on for support? Can this person support you, and can they spiritually support you too? Because it's one thing when you in a dark spot. Sometimes the human flesh can't always do it. You gonna need some God, and you gonna need some help. You gonna need some spiritual help to get through some dark times, boy. You have to think about these things. So use discernment. That's one. You also have to check values. You also have to check. I mean, not check, but you also have to be comfortable if it's just one person. Be comfortable with that. You don't need to have a whole army of 1000 or or anything like that. You don't need to have no big army. If you just have two good ride or dies, that's it. Fine. But make sure your support system is solid in terms of spiritual and, of course, physical and values. Keep those three things in mind. Okay? So, with that, this episode has wrapped. And yeah, I see y'all in the next one. Bye.